When the insurance adjuster calls, knowing what to say can make all the difference in your injury claim. In this video, I'll walk through exactly what to say and what to avoid when insurance adjusters call after a car accident, so you protect your rights without giving the insurer free ammunition. Hi, I'm attorney Christian Simpson. For the last 10 years, my firm has helped thousands of Virginians recover over $100 million for their families. I make these videos to help you too. If you or someone you know has been hurt in a crash, call 1-800-CRASH-VA. Let's set the stage before we dive into the specifics. Adjusters are trained communicators. Their job is to gather information, frame it in the light most favorable to their company, and pay as little as possible. Your job is different. Be accurate, be brief, and avoid opinions or guesses that can be twisted later. Follow these 7 tips, starting with the most important one. First, do not admit fault. In Virginia, even a small admission can have big consequences. Because of the Commonwealth's strict fault rules, a casual, "I'm sorry," or "I probably should have slowed down," can be spun into an admission that blocks your recovery. Adjusters listen for language that sounds like you're taking responsibility, even if you're simply being polite or trying to smooth over a tense conversation. If an adjuster presses for whether you could have avoided the crash, resist the urge to fill silence with speculation. It's okay to say you don't know yet, that the investigation is ongoing, and that you're still gathering records. A good way to keep yourself safe is to imagine you're describing the scene to a camera, not making promises to a person. Cameras record, they don't interpret. That mindset keeps you focused on what you actually saw and prevents the kind of offhand comments that come back to haunt people in negotiations. Second, stick to the facts. This naturally flows from avoiding admissions. Insurers prefer broad narratives because narratives contain assumptions, adjectives, and guesses. Facts are concrete. Give the date, time, location of the vehicles involved, the direction of travel, weather conditions, they're straightforward, and whether the police responded. If you didn't see something, say so plainly. If a question calls for measurements or timing you didn't record, don't estimate. A polite, "I'm not certain, I'd rather not guess," protects your credibility. Factual communication is short. If you find yourself telling a story, you're probably adding details that you can't verify. The more you talk, the more chances there are to create inconsistencies with the police report, future witness statements, or your own medical notes. Consistency wins cases. Keep answers brief and accurate, and you'll stay consistent across all the paperwork that follows. Third, do not minimize personal injuries to the adjuster. After a crash, people often say they're fine because they're in shock, embarrassed, or just trying to be courteous. Insurance companies love those words. If you downplay symptoms early, they will quote those statements later to argue your injuries weren't serious or weren't caused by the crash. The safer approach is to be honest about uncertainty. If you haven't seen a doctor yet, say you're being evaluated. If you're sore or have headaches or stiffness, say you're experiencing symptoms, and we'll follow up with your provider. Remember that some injuries, like soft tissue trauma or concussions, develop over hours or days. Early minimization is used later as proof that you're exaggerating when symptoms grow. You don't need to dramatize. You simply avoid minimizing. Pair that with prompt medical care so your records reflect what you're actually feeling, not what you felt pressured to say on a phone call. Next, ask questions. Once you've kept your side factual and cautious, shift the conversation by asking the adjuster to clarify their process. Questions make the call less one-sided and expose assumptions. Ask whether they're taking a recorded statement, what specific documents they want, how they evaluate medical bills, and whether they've confirmed available policy limits. You can also ask whether they're contacting witnesses and when you can expect written correspondence instead of just phone summary. These questions serve 2 purposes. First, they slow things down and put guardrails on future requests. Second, they create a paper trail. When an adjuster tells you their timeline or promises to request certain records, you can later follow up in writing and hold them to what they said. In other words, smart questions help you keep control of the process without being argumentative. Fifth, do not describe your injuries. This might sound like it contradicts the guidance not to minimize, but it fits hand in glove with it. You can acknowledge that you're hurt and seeking care, yet refuse to list symptoms, diagnoses, or prior medical conditions over the telephone. Detailed injury descriptions belong in medical records, not casual calls. The more detail you offer, the more room the insurer has to nitpick, compare, and later claim something doesn't match a note in your chart. When asked, "What injuries do you have?" a safe response is that you're under active evaluation and you'll provide necessary documentation at the appropriate time. If they request a blanket medical authorization, decline and say you'll provide relevant records yourself. Broad releases allow insurers to trawl through unrelated history to argue your current pain is pre-existing. Keeping injury details between you and your doctors both preserves your privacy and strengthens your negotiating position. Finally, do not provide a recorded statement. You've noticed how all the earlier rules aim to protect consistency and accuracy? A recorded statement is where those rules are most important. Adjusters are trained to ask questions in a way that boxes you into yes and no answers without context. Tiny inconsistencies like whether about time, distance, or how you felt become leverage later. You do not have to agree to a recorded statement for the other driver's insurer. If a recording is requested, decline politely and say you'll be happy to provide information in writing once you've gathered documents, or that you'll have your attorney coordinate. Written communication slows the process to a safer pace and lets you check details before you submit them. If a recording somehow becomes necessary later, preparation matters. You should have records in front of you, understand the scope of questions, and avoid expanding beyond what you can prove. Until then, no recorded statement at this time is the right default. Here's what a safe short script can sound like when an adjuster calls. You confirm your identity, the date and general location of the crash, and that the police responded. You state that you're receiving medical evaluation and will provide relevant records when appropriate. You note that you aren't comfortable guessing about specifics you didn't observe. You ask whether they can send you their requests in writing. You verify how to reach them and end the call. That's it. Polite, accurate, and limited. Talking to insurance adjusters may feel straightforward, but the truth is every word matters. One misstep can weaken your claim, and that's exactly what insurers count on. Having a lawyer handle those conversations can take the pressure off you and ensure your rights are fully protected from the start. If you or someone you love has been injured in a car accident in Virginia, call us today at 1-800-CRASH-VA for a free consultation. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe and check out the next video.